Hello, everyone out there uh, in YouTube land on Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit Day. I'm Ann Powers. I'm Ann Powers from NPR Music, and I'm here with NPR Music Assistant Editor Lyndsey McKenna. Hey, Lyndsey.
Hey there.
And contributing writer Julie Hight. Hi,
Hey.
Julie. We're all together. Julie and I are in Nashville, Tennessee, and Lyndsey is in DC. And we are very excited because today we're going to listen together to the new Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit album, Reunions. It's his seventh solo album and the fourth with his band, the 400 Unit. And you know, everybody's agreeing. The critics are saying, the fans have spoken. Yet another masterpiece from Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit. This one showing a new level of maturity for him as a songwriter. And I think the band sounds better than ever. Lyndsey, tell us a little bit about how we got to this place, how Jason and the 400 Unit got to this place.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, again, he's backed by the 400 Unit. It was recorded in Nashville in Studio A with Dave Cobb. And this is the follow-up to the Nashville Sound. Like you said, it was released back in 2017, and he's been touring pretty extensively since then. So a lot of folks who are tuning in probably have gotten a chance to see him. This follows, he got his start with Drive-By Truckers way back when, and he released a couple of solo records that started to pick up an audience. But I think for a lot of people, for some of you watching, his big breakthrough was in 2013 with Southeastern, which is just a real remarkable record. It's sort of an Americana modern day classic, maybe. And each subsequent album has really refined that sound. And fans who are tuning in are probably already familiar with a few of the tracks. We've already heard some singles, Be Afraid, What Have I Done to Help, and Only Children. And actually last week, if you ordered the record through an independent store, you got a chance to get your hands on a copy. So it's quite possible that you've already heard that, and that was to support stores that are in need of assistance right now as they try to weather the coronavirus crisis.
I saw an interesting exchange on Twitter yesterday where someone posted to our local record store, Grimey's, where Jason Isbell has played sometimes. I got bit by a dog today, but I also got my new copy of Reunions. So it's a good day. So if you're out there, a person who got bit by the dog while you were trying to get your copy, I'm glad you're here with us.
Yeah.
Wait, did they get bit while they were trying to get their copy of the album?
I'm promoting an urban myth right now. I am. But Julie, tell us a little bit about what we should listen for as we're listening to Reunions. What do you think really stands out on this record?
Well, you used the word mature or maturity or something along those lines. And that's definitely something that I thought about a lot listening to this album, because I've spent time with all of the albums in his catalog, and he is a singer and songwriter who was taken seriously from the very beginning, and took his craft seriously, and just the idea of using his voice artistically seriously from the beginning. And then he also has for several years now been respected, just widely respected and really regarded as kind of, the leading voice of his generation in his scene. So I think that listening with an ear toward what continued maturation looks like for a singer-songwriter who has been serious-minded all along and has, years back had already attained a certain level of respect and visibility, thinking about what he is doing with that, what he's doing with that status and that kind of sense of responsibility, that awareness of it. I think that, listen for how that comes through in songwriting perspectives and also in musical choices that they made this time around.
Absolutely. And of course, we're also listening after we have now lost John Prine. John Prine, the great singer-songwriter and Jason Isbell's mentor, passed away, victim of COVID-19. And so that's an interesting, it casts a different light, a strong emotional light on this record. So somber side, but let's celebrate. Let's celebrate and let's get into it. I'm Ann Powers from NPR Music, and now Lyndsey McKenna and Julie Hight and I are going to join you all in the chat room, and we're going to take a listen to Reunions by Jason Isbell. And afterwards we'll be back.
What have I done to help? What have I done to help somebody save me? What have I done to help? What have I done to help? Not myself. What have I done to help? What have I done to help somebody save me? What have I done to help? What have I done to help? Not myself. Thought I was alone in the world until my memories gathered around me in the night. Thought I was strong until I finally had to fight. I kept my head down and showed up to work on time and watched my appetite. Put the money in the mattress, locked the doors at night, and we'd all be alright. What have I done to help? What have I done to help somebody save me? What have I done to help? What have I done to help and not myself? What have I done to help? What have I done to help somebody save me? What have I done to help? What have I done to help and not myself? See, I've made mistakes that I can't erase. Some of the love I've lost will not come back to me. I broke my word, I lied on a Bible just to feel a little free. She didn't deserve it, nobody ever deserves it. But I caught anchor and I drifted out to sea. And you found me busted, and somehow you trusted I was not what I could be. What have I done to help? What have I done to help somebody save me? What have I done to help? What have I done to help and not myself? What have I done to help? What have I done to help somebody save me? What have I done to help? What have I done to help but not myself? Climb to safety, you and me and the baby. We send our thoughts and prayers to loved ones on the ground. And as the days went by, we just stopped looking down, down, down. Now the world's on fire, and we just climb higher. We're no longer bothered by the smoke and the sound. Good people suffer, and the heart gets tougher. Nothing given, nothing found. What have I done to help? What have I done to help somebody save me? What have I done to help? What have I done to help not myself? What have I done to help? What have I done to help somebody save me? What have I done to help? What have I done to help but not myself? What have I done to help? What have I done to help somebody save me? Guess we're leaving town again. We're moving out and moving in. Gotta break the news to all my friends, but they won't care. They'll just find another face to fall behind, to take my place, and run way past second base and just stand there. A dreamsicle on a summer night in a folding lawn chair. Witches ring around the moon, better get home soon. Poison oak and poison ivy, dirty jokes that blew right by me. Mama curling up beside me, crying to herself. Why can't Daddy just come home? Forget whatever he did wrong. He's in a hotel all alone and we need help. A dreamsicle on a summer night in a folding lawn chair. I'm still packing up my room, gotta get home soon. Sneakers on the high school court, and you swore you'd be there. A heart breaking through the springtime, breaking in June. Broken vows. I'll be 18 4 years from now, with different friends in a different town. I'll finally be free. Call you both some holiday, tell you why I moved away. Say everything's gonna be okay, you can come see me. A dreamsicle on a summer night in a folding lawn chair. Daddy's howling at the moon, better get home soon. Heat lightning in the evening sky, and my mama's red hair. Hearts breaking through the springtime, breaking into June. Breaking into June. Breaking in June. Walking around at night, fighting my appetite. Every kid in cutoffs could be you. Remember when we used to meet at the bottom of Mobile Street and do what the broken people do? Are you still taking notes? The Holy Ghost could get inside you. You do whatever you put your mind to. Will you read me what you wrote when we were locked outside the building, over encouraged only children? Cold coffee on the fire escape, we bet it all on a demo tape, but we still had something left to steal. Remember when we took too much to get a little of the human touch, hand to mouth and reel to reel? Are you still taking notes? Hydrocodone in your backpack. Maybe these words will hold the beats back. And will you read me what you wrote? The one I said you stole from Dylan, over encouraged only children. Heaven's wasted on the dead, that's what your mama said. And the hearse was idling in the parking lot. She said you thought the world of me, and you were glad to see they finally let me be an astronaut. Are you still taking notes? Do you have anyone to talk to? Castle walls that you can walk through? And do the dead believe in ghosts? Or are you lost in some old building with over-encouraged only children? Used to be a ghost town, but even the ghosts got out, and the sound of the highway died. There's ashes in the swimming pool, but I saw you on your wedding night, and I watched you sleeping in my arms. You didn't wash your makeup off, and you woke up looking scared as hell. My love won't change, my love won't change, my love won't change a thing. You're never coming back to me, you're never coming back at all. And the way it made a young girl cry at the table next to mine tonight. And I know you would have brought him to his knees, but you're overseas. Doesn't seem so long ago we thought that we could change their minds. We'd stay here and fight it out with a love that we could weaponize. But I saw you losing faith, and I was watching when the light went out. You know what revolution means, and you know it's not an option now. And our love won't change, our love won't change, our finish up his life alone. And I saw you in her daughter's eyes last night when she caught me in a lie. And I need you here to make both of us believe. But you're overseas. Trust me, like I was beating a bird from my hand. And if this isn't love, then it must be another answer I don't understand. To a prayer that was please and not thank you. To a question I wrote in the sand. To a wish that I made on a satellite. From a witness and tears on the stand. Slipped you a room key to a hotel room you couldn't afford. And we can never go back and be strangers. All our secrets are mixed and distilled. But you taught me to temper my anger, and you learned it's alright to be still. Running with our eyes The river is my savior, 'cause she used to be a cloud. She's happy just to lay there when she used to be so proud. And even when she dries up 1,000 years from now, I'll lay myself beside her and call her name out loud. The river is my savior, the only one I'll ever need. Wash my head when I've been sinning, wash my knuckles when they bleed. Protect me from my neighbor, all his jealousy and greed. Take the body to the delta, hide the weapon in the weeds. But now I'm tired and a little bit confused regarding what I meant to do and what I did. The men I've hired, they all seem to be afraid of me. They turn their eyes away from me like kids. The river hears my secrets, things I cannot tell a soul, like the children that I've orphaned and the fortune that I stole. The neighbor who asked questions till he washed up on the shore. But I've done the law some favors, so nobody has to know. Now I'm tired and I just can't get to sleep. I've been a wolf among these sheep for all my life. The lake of fire, it consumes me in my dreams. And last night I woke up screaming at my wife. The river is my savior, she's running to the sea. And to reach her destination is to simply cease to be. And running till you're nothing sounds a lot like being free. So I'll lay myself inside her and I'll let her carry me. We've been testing you, and you failed to see how long that you could sit with the truth, but you bailed. And I don't think you even recognize the loss of control, and I don't think you even see it in yourself. See, every one of us is counting dice that we didn't roll, and the loser is the last to ask for help. Be afraid, be very afraid, but do it anyway. Stage belongs to you, and you feel like the star, and you can bark and snap like a dog at the man who just tuned your guitar. And I don't think you even recognize the kid in the wings, and I don't think you even see her in yourself. She looks to you for what to do with all her delicate dreams, but you're too terrified to be of any help. Be afraid, be very afraid, do it anyway. Shut up and fail to see how long that you could hold it in before you scream, but you only exhale. I don't think you even recognize the sound of your voice when it's blasting through the speakers in the sky. And if your words add up to nothing, then you're making a choice to sing a cover when we need a battle cry. Be afraid, be very afraid, but do it anyway. Do it anyway. Be afraid, be very afraid, do it anyway. Do it anyway. Be afraid, be very afraid, do it anyway. Do it anyway. Be afraid, be very afraid, do it anyway. Do it anyway. What do I do to make you smile? You've been hurting for a while. What can I do to make you laugh? Get St. Peter's autograph. What's that distance in your eye? Has your faith been compromised? What can I do to help you sleep? I work hard and work for cheap. Sometimes it's nothing but the way you're wired, and that's not your fault. We're all struggling with the world on fire and the fear we're taught. Now you've lost another friend who couldn't stay to see the end. He had somewhere else to be. Cut him down and burn the tree. There's no shelter from the rain, and I can't comprehend your pain. But I got arms and I got ears, and I will always be right here. Sometimes it's nothing but the way you were raised, and that could have been worse. I see you suffering through the best of days, and still you put me first. What do I do to let you know that I'm not haunted by his ghost? Let him dance around our room, let him smell of your perfume. Share your best, remember when. If he comes through here again, maybe he can make you laugh. Bring St. Peter's autograph. Last night I dreamed that I'd been drinking. Same dream I have about twice a week. I had one glass of wine, I woke up feeling fine, and that's how I knew it was a dream. Last night I dreamed that I'd been drinking cold burning whiskey down my throat. My hand turned into a rattlesnake, and I laughed myself awake, and that's how I knew it was a joke. It gets easier, but it never gets easy. I can say it's all worth it, but you won't believe me. Hold down your liquor, swallow your pride. You'd rather keep it inside. It gets easier, but it never gets easy. Last night I did myself a favor. I called in sick and went downtown. Drove past the local bar. A cop got behind my car. I wish he would pull me over now. Last night I let myself remember times I forgot a woman's name. I blacked out behind the wheel. How tight the handcuffs feel. My daughter's eyes when she's ashamed. It gets easier, but it never gets easy. I can say it's all worth it, but you won't believe me. You can't expect her to follow your lead. She's fine with her wine and her weed. It gets easier, but it never gets easy. It never gets easy. It gets easier, but it never gets easy. I can say it's all worth it, but you won't believe me. Hold down your liquor, swallow your pride. You'd rather keep it inside. It gets easier, but it never gets easy. It never gets easy. It never gets easy. The nurse helped us buckle your seat in the car, and they sent us on our way. I drove home so slow, we had no instructions. The first days were hard, but there's things about babies a woman just knows. 3 in the morning, I lay my hand over your heart just to know you were safe in your sleep. When you started walking, I fight back the urge to stay right there beside you, keep you on your feet. Being your daddy comes natural. The roses just know how to grow. It's easy to see that you'll get where you're going, but the hard part is letting you go. The hard part is letting you go. It didn't take long to see you got the best of me in your mama's merciful heart and your eyes. helping her raise you has taught me to see through the great fog of loneliness, the devil's disguise. Being your daddy comes natural. The roses just know how to grow. It's easy to see that you'll get where you're going, but the hard part is letting you go. The hard part is letting you go. And now you've decided to be someone's wife, and we'll walk down the aisle and I'll give you away. I wish I could walk with him back through your life to see every last minute of every last day. To hear your first words and to feel your first heartbreak, to sing you to sleep when you're scared of the dark. The best I can do is to let myself trust that you know who'll be strong enough to carry your heart. Being your daddy comes natural. The roses just know how to grow. It's easy to see that you'll get where you're going. The hard part is letting you go. The hard part is letting you go.
That was awkward. Sorry, everybody. I was muted. I'm not a technical pro.
We thought
Hello,
you were whispering
everybody.
sweet nothings.
That was a beautiful listening experience. And now we're going to talk a little bit about the record. Thanks, everyone who was in the chat room. It was really fun to be in there with you, sharing thoughts, and everyone from all over the world. I know we had people from Croatia, from Brazil, from Seattle, from Louisiana. So it was great to see y'all. I'm sure there were some Alabamians in there as well. Julie, hearing the album as a whole, where does this fall in Jason's and the band's artistic development? You know, what stands out for you musically and lyrically?
You know, I thought it was interesting. I saw a couple of comments in the thread where people were commenting that it was more produced or a different style of production, or I think a couple of people even said, oh, he's lost his edge. But I think the way to think about that is that, you know, this has always been a guitar forward, guitar driven band with, you know, Jason's playing itself and then also Sadler Vaden's playing, you know, right out front. And in the past, they've drawn more on other approaches to rock guitar playing that are more rugged and earthy in attack and tone, you know, Southern rock and roots rock and country rock and, you know, approaches like that. So it is a very different thing to the ears when you've been listening to Jason Isbell and the 400 unit for a while. It's different to hear them make choices about, you know, the really lyrical, elegant lines and soloing that we hear this time around, and the pristine, clean guitar tone that they use sometimes. You know, I mean, I saw people in chat make Mark Knopfler comparisons, which I think is completely apt, and Dire Straits comparisons. Saw a lot of those floating around. And I think that, when you think of Dire Straits albums, those are really kind of elegant, filled out, sophisticated, that sort of approach to making studio rock, or something that you might have actually heard on the radio in the 80s, and not on Americana radio. I'm talking about,
rock radio. I mean,
yeah.
I actually, the phrase classic rock is one that's been demonized in the 21st century, but I don't know, Lyndsey, it kind of applies to this record. What songs do you feel like are the most like rockin' on this record?
Yeah, I think that one of the things that's really striking to me about this record is that it feels like more than ever there's a real balance between kind of like the big rock moments and the softer stuff. And I think that, there are fans who probably really identify with one or the other, but I think that there's really balance between those bigger moments and the more intimate revelations. Like when you've seen him live, the most recent time that I saw him live, he opened with Anxiety from the last record. And it kind of felt like that really connected to some of the bigger moments here, like Be Afraid and What Have I Done to Help. And I think even lyrically, there's sort of this connection to the Nashville sound, his last record, and some of the ways that he's addressing. I think in one of the interviews for this touring cycle, he said, I don't make it's not political music, it's all political music. And I think that that's what comes forward on some of the more rock side. But the smaller moments really ache in a way that feels a little more intimate. And even when he's perhaps developing these character analysis, like on Dreamsicle or Only Children, it still feels so intimate that I think people are really interested in parsing out biography and autobiography. But, that's helpful and that's exciting. And I think that we as listeners really do identify with him as a figure and him as an artist. But also he is just so talented at these small details. What of the songs
up for you? Yeah. What do you love? What do you love?
Those last three songs to me just feel like a real moment of just revelation. I think a lot's been leading up to those. It Gets Better and Letting You Go are really the ones that get to me the most. I think some of the team at NPR Music knows that I was planning my wedding, and my fiance and I were scheduled to get married before the COVID-19 pandemic struck, and we had to delay our wedding. And one of the things, I'm not a big father-daughter dance type, but my father and I hadn't picked a song yet. And when I was listening to this for the first time, of course, Letting You Go brought me to tears. And I immediately called my parents and said, well, if there's any upside, I think that this is it, that we'll get to have that song. And I think for a lot of folks that's going to be a wedding classic for years to come. But it's such an intimate portrait. And I think that it's something that, again, is universally relatable, but it's so detailed.
That's Lyndsey McKenna, who's our assistant editor here at NPR Music, sharing her own beautiful moment with Letting You Go. It's funny. No one would really associate Jason Isbell with Garth Brooks, but Julie, I don't know. Like when I think of a wedding song, I think of The Dance, one of the corniest songs ever made, but also one of the greatest songs ever made. That's a Garth song. So I wonder if you can talk a little bit about how this record is connected to country music and even to someone like Garth Brooks.
Well, I can't say that I thought of Garth Brooks while listening to this album, but I did think of the Dixie Chicks not stylistically, but when you hear the line in Be Afraid, we won't shut up and sing. Obviously, the resonance of that line, that is the thing that was thrown at the Dixie Chicks back in 2003, Shut Up and Sing. And in the context of Nashville, regardless of whether you're in the country mainstream or operating in a completely different lane, everybody knows that the meaning of that sort of has lived on, and artists have been operating kind of in the shadow of that sense that you can either choose to use your voice in a particular way and potentially get blowback for it, or, so that the Dixie Chicks were definitely, something that I thought about hearing that song, because I think that it's not possible to live and work in Nashville as an artist who wants to be speaking about, the realities that he sees around him and not be aware of that and feel that. And I think especially for an artist like Jason Isbell, who, has figured out from album to album how he wants to be speaking about what he sees going on in the world, and things that concern him, and even making a decision like in between albums to play a supporting role with the Highwomen. There's a through line there that you just kind of see, what are the latest iterations of him thinking about, responsibility and complicity and obligation and those kinds of things in the context of relationships, but also in a much broader context as well.
I'm glad you mentioned that Jason played backup with the Highwomen. And I just want to shout out Amanda Shires, who does amazing work throughout this record. And, that's Jason's wife and his creative partner. And she plays fiddle and sings background on this record. I wonder, Lyndsey, what do you think about Amanda's presence on this record?
Yeah, I think there is a comparison maybe that's a little unfounded, but I oftentimes think a lot of Matt Berdinger's relationship with his wife, and in years that she's gotten song credits on the Nationals, more recent work, and I think that there's a real collaborative identity with the way that they write songs. And I'm not sure it's quite analogous here, but I think of that sort of creative partnership, especially in the way that in plenty of interviews, Jason and Amanda have talked about how they've presented their work to one another, and especially in one of the interviews for this album cycle, Jason talks a lot about how he was on vacation with his friend Will, the editor-in-chief of GQ, and him and Amanda and Will and his wife were sitting around talking about their creative collaborations. And I think that you really do get a sense, especially in the interplay of her vocals and just her fiddle her instrumentation is remarkable, and she is an incredible musician in her own right. Obviously, please check out that last Amanda Shires record if you haven't. But I think that there's something really creative about their collaboration. And I think that's why people are so drawn to them as figures too. I know I mentioned that, but they are just so compelling.
That's such an interesting connection you make between Amanda's last record and what is happening with this record. Someone asked in the chat, does this record seem more heavily produced? And I know they were inspired by Dire Straits, obviously, and by Tom Petty and by Fleetwood Mac, and not, necessarily 70s Fleetwood Mac, like the Game era Fleetwood Mac or whatever. But, actually Amanda went to that place with her last record. She made a real rock record. So, I just want to also shout out the 400 unit, every member, Derry DeBorgia on piano, keyboard, organ, and omnichord, Chad Gamble on drums, Jimbo Hart on bass, and Sadler Vaden, as you mentioned, Julie on guitar. What do you think about the band on this record? Like, what about the development of the band? Julie?
I mean, like I was saying before, I think it's a deliberate choice that you have to make as an individual player and also as an ensemble about how you're going to coming up with parts, but also arranging things and how you're going to execute them. I mean, I'm sure that there are lots of little decisions that they made in terms of tone that they were going to use, keyboard sounds and drum sounds, guitar tone, and also how they recorded them and panned them and the effects that they applied to make it feel so sort of filled in and filled out and refined, as an album making unit. They've always excelled as a fierce live band. I think everyone knows them for that. So this is a chance to hear them a little bit differently as an album making unit. And Lyndsey, when you were talking about just how well we know both Jason Isbell and Amanda Shires at this point as figures and as artists and music makers, I think that because they've been, or the way that Jason Isbell kind of moves through the world and does interviews and conducts himself on social media, because he's such an open book about his personal life and his relationships too. I think that, you know, we've accumulated such a sense of that at this point in time that you kind of, you know, you can simultaneously hear that resonate through the details in particular songs, even as you admire, you know, his craft, his ability to kind of choose details that are evocative and make a character come to life or a moment come to life. And, you know, and I think that, I mean, I hear bits and pieces of that in terms of how he's singing about, I mean, and I love the song, St. Peter's Autograph, you know, this picture of someone trying to give their partner room to grieve, you know? And I mean, I think Anne pointed out in chat the inspiration behind that song, didn't you?
Yeah, it was inspired by when the guitarist and beloved musician Neil Casal died in 2019, actually died of suicide. He was a very close friend of Amanda Shires, and it's about Jason Isbell trying to come to terms with just what you said, like, how do you support a partner in a moment that's so personal and private, but in a moment when they're at their most vulnerable as well. It's beautiful and unique. You know, it's very hard, in my opinion, to find a scenario to write a song about that there haven't been a million songs about already. But there's a few on this one, you know. I mean, I think Dreamsicle is another one where, and I don't know how autobiographical that song is, frankly, but, you know, dealing with divorce and the way divorce can disrupt a child's life. You hear that song at first and it seems like just a fun song about the summer and memories of, you know, eating sweets and enjoying the weather. But then the lyrics really cut deeply about this, not only the emotional trauma that divorce can cause, but the financial peril of a family torn asunder by divorce. And that's another layer of Jason Isbell's work that I think, Lyndsey, when you said it's political, everything is political, you know, he's aware of class. He's aware of how people suffer because of the inequities in our society, but he finds a personal way into that.
Absolutely.
So we've been talking, I'm Ann Powers with NPR Music, and I'm here with Lyndsey McKenna and Julie Hight, and we've been talking about Jason Isbell's great record Reunions. And I wonder if we can just talk for a little bit, wrapping up here, about what we hope for the future for Jason, for the band, such an important band live and with such an audience out there who love them so much. Just share your dream, Lyndsey. What do you hope for around this album in the future?
I really can't wait to see this stuff live. And I know that we might be a long way off. And I know that a lot of people are just going through so much right now. But I'm really hopeful that we're going to get to see these songs live someday. And I think that that's going to be a really powerful moment when we do. I think for a lot of people, we're all seeking kind of connection right now, that it feels isolating to be self-isolating. And to me, these songs, just in the way that they trace so much lived experience in characters, and you can sense, again, so much just connection in these tracks, that I'm really looking forward to hearing this stuff live.
Absolutely. Julie, how about you and I have a date for the next time Jason plays 12 Nights at the Ryman?
I would also like to see Jason Isbell in the 400 unit get on a flatbed truck and just roll across. Start in Nashville and then just roll across the United States and transport that flatbed truck to other countries, you know, put it on a ship, take it around, you know, just yeah, that's what I would like to see.
Well, I absolutely think that. I don't know what else we can say after that image. Let's just think of Jason in the 400 unit. Maybe Mercy can drive. I know she's, what is she? She's not yet even grade school age, Amanda and Jason's daughter, but I'd like to see Mercy behind the wheel of that truck, because, you know, recently there was a story that a 5-year-old got in his parents' car and tried to drive to Los Angeles so that kid could get a Lamborghini. So why not?
Dream big.
Well, thank you so much. I'm Ann Powers for NPR Music with Lyndsey McKenna and Julie Hight. And thanks to everyone who joined us on this live stream. It's been a great conversation. And we love you, Jason. We love you, 400 Unit. And love to all of y'all out there.
Thanks so much.